I'm going to try to take this cap off without hammering and chiseling it to death. Ah, easy. Okay, this is a cotter pin, and it holds this other thing together. So the cotter pin means that this little flimsy sheet metal thing can't move, and that's vitally important. And that comes off because that means that keeps this guy from moving, because this guy is what holds everything together, and it's not tight because the bearings have to have room to move. So there's just a wee little bit of play, like 0.004 of an inch of play, that this nut controls. So you'll see it's not tight at all. Yeah, it's just loose. Carefully adjusted amount of looseness that is held in place by that flimsy sheet metal nut and the cotter pin. And if you miss any of those parts, your wheel flies off. So, done that. What you're looking at here is the outer wheel bearing, which has plenty of grease on it. So we'll pull this drum out, push it back in. I don't want this bearing to get dirty, so I will leave it in place, and I'll just take the whole drum off. Okay, there's the drum, and I'll set this aside. So that's the spindle. There's plenty of grease, and now there's plenty of grease on my hands, and now there's plenty of grease on the camera. So I'll zoom this back out. Now, what you're looking at here is the results of the wheel cylinder up top here leaking, and it spilled all its fluid out all over everything here, collecting brake dust in its way and making everything generally nasty. You've got two brake shoes, and the thing I want to point out about the brake shoes is see how the pad material comes all the way to the top of the shoe on the rear shoe, and the pad material is missing for an inch on either side. That's intentional. The pads wear at a different rate, so they put less pad material on the front brake than on the rear. And the reason for that is the wheel cylinder, when it's working, pushes out with even pressure, but the bottom is fixed. So when the wheel is spinning forward, the front brake catches it first with all that friction and tries to spin the whole thing in this direction. So the force of the friction of the front pad gets pushed all the way back into the back pad. Now the back pad's got nowhere to go, so the back pad ends up taking up most of the braking force, which is why the back pad has more friction surface attached to it, because it's doing all the work. This is a really messy. Push this in and turn the pin that's inside it. So there's a tab and a slot. You want to rotate it. This. Shove that in. There we go. Takes 3 hands. Now I'll instantly forget what worked and start doing the stupid thing again. Alright. Okay, so I can hold that. Then I will just first push down. And there we go. Okay. And that's the second set of hold down springs. Take the pin out. There's your pin. Under. Rotate it and keep it on that groove, and then it's off. That's so much easier than every other way. This is the weird pliers thing. Now I'm going to do it the other direction. Okay. So there's a brake adjusting system, and the adjuster is this star wheel on the bottom. When it rotates in one way, it lengthens this mechanism. When it rotates the other way, it brings the shoes closer together. And it has this cable which goes around a cable holder metal piece which is held in by this spring, and then there's another spring down here that holds it together. But the only thing that's really attached to the car at this point is the top of this cable, which I should be able to. So if you're wondering where your brake fluid went, I found it. There we go. Makes life easier. Alright. And that's a mess. Bleh. Pick up, drop it here, along with these pieces, and I will. Some people would say don't reuse those brake shoes because they're soaked in grease. People say a lot of things. Okay, so I'm throwing these brake parts in here. I'm going to clean them as best I can with dish soap and water, and then maybe after that I'll hit it with the brain solvent. I'm going to take the wheel cylinder off. So I'm going to remove the brake hose first. And that means one of these line wrenches, but probably. Okay, so 5/8 line wrench. The point of this wrench is that it goes all the way around to grab multiple sides of your hose fitting, which of course is made out of a softer metal and is likely to deform. And then I've got this plug ready to go on the end, although I'm pretty sure this line is empty of all brake fluid at this point. So take the cutout, work it over the hose. Come on. Okay. And then slide it down until you can get to where the leaf is. Always try to think about where your knuckles are going to go when this breaks loose. There it goes. That's all I get, is that little bit of movement. Let's see if that is enough. Ah, right. So, part 2 of this challenge is once we get the hose loose, we can't necessarily turn it because it's still attached on the other side. So I got 2 choices. I can either disconnect that, and that way I can freely spin the hose, or I can try to be clever and take the cylinder off spin the cylinder. Not exactly straight on, but oh boy. Maybe enough. Hopefully this will be enough. So, right there. Okay, so the copper washer actually makes the seal, because copper is a soft metal, so it compresses. But when it compresses, it hardens. So once you've used one once, you don't want to reuse it because you don't get the same amount of compression. If you don't have a new copper washer, you can take it to the stove and heat it up till it's bright red, and that will anneal the copper and re-soften it so you can get another squeeze out of it. But obviously, new is better. There we go. See, little cap there. Alright. Put that up and out of the way. And I'm going to get a bucket and try to clean this off. I have one clean finger yet to hit pause. There's your piston, there's your seal, there's your spring. There's our pail of soapy water. Clever trick number 2 is move your pail of soapy water out of the way so you don't drop things in it. And we're going to do the new, we're just going to do a new brake cylinder. Pair of them. The left one is made in China. The right one is made in USA. So there it is. Both sides seem to move freely. That makes me happy. Comes with the copper thing, but this one's bent, so I'm going to do something about that. Alright, so I found another washer. I think it'll work. It's a little thicker than the one they gave me, but that means more room to crush. It's Thursday, so the leaf blower guys are here, and they will be blowing leaves up in the air in a second, so hopefully before they get too close. And this is, I hate leaf blowers. Alright, so getting leaf blowers.